master of my emotions. Therefore, I am the master of time. I am the master of my emotions. Therefore, I am the master of time. This is my precursor to become open to learn that all things inside of time are to aid me into mastering my emotions. Divine Rise, blessed be to your day. May it be everything you require to create everything that you desire. Behavior is the cement of time. Behavior is the cement of time. Your mood is a byproduct of not mastering time or your discipline. Follow me. I remember always having to be in a certain mood to do certain things. So I had to be in a certain feeling or a certain catalyst of feelings to do certain things. So I had to be in a mood to go work out. I had to be in a mood to go write something down. I had to be in a mood to go clean up. I had to be in a mood to do something. What I learned was my mood, if I didn't learn how to control my behaviors, my timeline was cemented in my behaviors. Think about it like this. The next time that you're angry, think about it like this. Next time that you're angry, you'll spend, let's say you were angry for 5 minutes. You'll spend upwards up to about 15 hours. I know because I've done it. 15 hours trying to figure out or trying to cement your behavior in the reaction to you being upset. So let's say you just get mad. Let's say you upset. Everything that you were feeling already is now in that space. And now it's up to you to master it. But if I'm sitting in a space and I'm upset, I'll sit there for I remember sitting upset I remember just being mad and not really understanding my anger was something that was a byproduct of something already going on. But what triggered me to be even angry, I allowed everything that I was already feeling to feed that space. And remember, there's only two emotions. There's love and there's fear. So if I'm angry, I'm in fear of something. If I'm sad, I'm in fear of something. If I'm in grief, in guilt, in shame, in insecurity, in jealousy, I'm fearing something. What am I fearing? That's what that triggers for. If I'm in love, if I'm in the essence of the love, my gratitude, my greatness, my gratefulness, my happiness, my balance, my peace, the next thing that I have to learn is how to master how to carry that forward. And here's the key, without an external anchor. When you're happy or something outside of you is making you happy, one of the things that I had to learn was when I'm happy, I'm already happy. I'm content. I'm happy. So now everything outside of me is going to enhance my happiness. Everything outside of me enhances my happiness. That means if it's not enhancing my happiness, or if it's in a different mood, my beloved's in a bad mood, or whatever's in a bad mood around me, it's now in the space of me figuring out, because now I know I'm happy, I'm in a good mood, I'm in a good space. Now I'm in the balance. So whenever I go into a space, for a lot of us, your whole mood can change if you haven't learned how to master the behavior. Your whole mood can change if you haven't learned how to master or tap into that behavior based on time. I remember a lot of times for myself, if I was in a bad mood when I woke up, 9 times out of 10, everything that was in my space was going to make me mad. Or I was going to find a reason for it to make me mad. I was going to find a reason for it to make me mad. It didn't even have to be it in particular. I would just find a reason to make me upset, to keep riding the wave, because I was used to it. I already built so much of my life up based in anger, based in trying to get ahead, based on trying to catch up. That's how I built my entire world. My world was based in me trying to catch up, me trying to prove something, me trying to hold on to these old identities, and that's what controlled my mood. So that's what controlled my time. Therefore, whenever I did have the thought of time to myself, I found myself in that space being the most innocent, doing some of the most innocent things. I allowed my inner child to sit in that space. So it'd be something as simple as, think about it like this. For me now, my schedule, me being that I work as myself, I'm the ownership of the LLC mentality for myself. Now, is if I don't make the promotion, if I don't write it down, if I don't make the promotion, if I don't set the tone, if I don't make the music, if I don't go work out, that's only on me. Here's the key. It's always been on me. But now that I've taken it consciously to discipline myself in the factors, now I'm outside of my old timeline. This is all removing those layers. We talked about this on Friday when it came into the aspects of emotional attachment versus true vulnerability. Emotional attachment versus true vulnerability. We talked about this Friday, and it was very big in the aspects of time. Whenever I was stuck inside of an emotional attachment, that means I was stuck inside of a wound, stuck inside of insecurity, stuck inside of a doubt, stuck inside of an aspect of that. I noticed that in my space, the things that I was using externally to bring me out of that mood, I depended upon them being, the only reason that I could depend on these external anchors is because they were based in my doubt. They were based in my insecurity. They were based in my insecurity. They were based in my doubt. I'm gonna let you understand why. Because when I was in that space, I noticed that, remember, true vulnerability is being open, truthful, and being able to take in and take your responsibility of a situation. Emotional projection or being stuck in that mood or relieving yourself of a certain mood is always going to be based on a bias. So you'll always go, this happened first, and then y'all know how I am, because da-da-da-da-da. And that would be my script every single time. Every single time something happened to me, the first thing that I would say, but like, yeah, you know how I am, da-da-da-da. I would either set myself up first as my anchor, that anchoring point. Y'all know how I am, I'm real. Yeah, can't no one tell me what to do, da-da-da-da. I go down this whole line. I go down my whole line of my identity. I built my identity inside of that space. I submitted myself to the identity within that space of the energy within that space. Now, in order for me to maintain that space, or that space to be maintained that I created, everything in that space had to be going through the same thing or something similar. This is where on Friday we're gonna get into time crisis, and this week we're getting into that broken record. I noticed that I was always trying to piece together in every aspect of my life to fit a certain narrative of comfort. That certain narrative of comfort, that was me falsifying or telling myself that I was advancing, telling myself that I was changing, telling myself that I was doing something in that space. But in reality, based on my mood, based on my behaviors, that came into my emotions, that controlled time for me, I was stuck inside of a certain mindset to where if it didn't fit it, I would constantly try to make it fit my narrative. Try to fit that same narrative. So if I'm in fear, that means everything around me got to be inside of fear. So the things that were not in fear, the things that were not in anger, the things that were not in doubt, insecurity, whatever mood whatever feeling I was feeling at the time, it looked weird to me. And And I thought, I was like, oh, that's challenging me. Why are you not upset like this? Don't you understand that and then this is how externally that it goes. This is how far it goes out externally, because now you're going to start using external anchors to make it a reason for them. Like, yeah, see, now you know I'm in the mood that I'm in, even though it didn't match. So I would use things like, yeah, you know how black people in America, we oppressed. That didn't have nothing to do with my anger, but I would try to use that as my anchor to bring everybody into the space so I can stay comfortable. I didn't allow things to take me outside of my comfort zone. Therefore, I didn't allow anything to take me outside of the timeline. So I couldn't master my emotions. So I couldn't master time. I've learned that framework that I built over the last year, it's different now because the way that it flows into it, I'm not rushing. I don't have this need to rush anymore. And when I do feel rushed, I'm now aware that I need to pull that out and pay attention to it. Give you an example. Yesterday, I was finishing up the music for the podcast. And I wanted to make this, I wanted to kill this, I wanted this awesome beat was in my head, but I couldn't get it out. It was in there. So what I did, my usual, went for my walk, I went and talked to the trees, went and played, talked in the trees, talked to the grass. That's in that environment, allow myself to become open, came back to the house, sat down. I watched another great movie on Netflix. Trejo, I think it's like Tombstone, whatever. I don't remember it, but it was a great movie. I was like, damn, Trejo actually is in some good ass fucking movies. But that's neither here nor there. I came back after I was done with all of that. I allow everything to just fall away. I allowed myself to relax, truly relax. I allowed myself, because the anxiousness came in. That anxiety came in, like, yo, I got to get this beat done before this period in time. I was stepping outside of time. I was stepping into a behavior. My normal behavior was like, usually by this day, I have this, and this done, but I didn't because I switched some things around. And it's okay to switch things around. You just have to realize why you're doing the switch. You just have to realize why you're moving things around based in your behavior. A lot of us get stuck in our old behaviors. We get stuck in our old behavior. We're used to reacting. We're used to our mood controlling how we move. And we're used to our emotions. We're used to the catalyst of our emotions to keep us acting a certain way. But as you're healing, as you're doing this work, all of that's changing. The conversation that you're having with yourself is changing. That conversation that you had based in doubt is now going to be growing into that confidence. You're not used to that confidence. It's all right, because I remember I was not used to confidence. I would say some things, and the only way that I could stay confident in saying what I said was like I had to have an anchor to hold on to it. And it's all right, because that's your learning process. That's like anybody talking about Yoruba and all these other catalysts. Those are external anchors. But once we learn that we're mastering our emotions and everything's based on emotions, then we understand how to master these aspects. Once I understood that it was my emotions that drove me it was my emotional complex and disciplining my emotions that had me going to the gym and still going to the gym strong, I was mastering the time. I get to the gym, I'm at the gym by 6:30, I'm done working out by 7:45. Get all my workouts done. I'm in a great space. I'm wide open. So now when it comes time I mastered that part of my day, I can use that energy to move forward. This is you mastering those thoughts. It starts with that breath. I did that breath exercise at the beginning of this video. I am the master of my emotions. Therefore, I'm the master of time. Everything inside of my space that is going to trigger me based on emotion is showing me how to master time. It's showing me how to master time. A lot of the times I did not know how to master time. So I would get upset if something didn't go my way in a certain period of time. Until I started looking at it, I was like, that timeline is not based on my timeline. I can't expect everybody to move on my timeline. My timeline's different because my emotions are different. I've cycled through my emotions in a different space. Therefore, my conversation with myself is different. The only thing that I can do is control my reaction. And since I turned my reaction into response and a better informed, there was no avoiding the situation. You'll notice, think about it. When you're angry, think about all the things you avoid when you're angry. Every conduit that represents the aspect of anger, you'll avoid. Every conduit that represents something that you're angry about, something that you need to disclose, you'll avoid. You'll step out of that situation. There's a difference between stepping out of the situation based on I need to take time to get myself together. I need to get time to reflect. And if besides me stepping out of this space to avoid. If I stay away long enough, maybe this will happen. I remember I used to do that shit all the time in fucking relationship. Like, if I stay away for 8 hours, if I have to go to work, cool. By the time I get home, no argument. Everybody's too tired. Everybody's sleepy. Until I came into a relationship that was like, nope, nigga, I'm up the same amount of time that you are. We gonna have this conversation. And then in reverse, that became something, once I learned that I have to deal with this before I lay down, I changed my sleep pattern. This is just the little things that you'll notice as you're changing these, as you're addressing your patterns, as you're addressing your moods, as you're addressing your behaviors. Your patterns are your patterns based in fear, your emotions when you're based in that fear narrative, anger, sorrow, doubt, those emotional wounds, you'll always feel like you're trying to catch up. Every single time. You'll always feel like you're trying to catch up. You'll always feel like you're trying to catch up to the day, try to get everything to fit in there. And the first things that you're going to put in there are the things that make you comfortable inside of your behavior. The things of comfort are what are the things of comfort to your behavior, of your reacting the way that you always want to react, acting the way you always want to act, and being inside of that space. Those will be the first things that'll be inside of your space. First things. I remember those will be the first things inside of my space. I was used to having this the complex of being in charge. So at work, I was always in charge. So when it came to, if I was in a bad mood, I would just take that shit out at work. By the time I was done with work, come back, all right, cool. I just need it. And then I would give myself the excuse inside of the space. These are the conversations that we have outside of ourselves. I would give myself that conversation outside of myself. Like, you got to understand that I was this angry. I had to learn how to master my emotions. I had to learn how to master that emotion. When I was stressed out, why was I stressed out? What was the root to my stress? The root to a lot of our stresses is struggle. That first moment of struggle that happened in your life, that first time you were actually told that you were struggling in your life, that emotional catalyst is what you're still feeding from. So is it a wound? And this is how we go all the way back to these wounds, telling y'all how we're going to master these timelines. So now when I mastered my wound, whenever I was struggling with something, it always went back to a maternal or a fraternal wound. My stress or my struggle would be within the aspects of doubt. So I wasn't stuck. I was just used to a certain pattern. Without that being there, then I didn't know how to move forward. But once I mastered this, I understood that everything in my space is going to be teaching me that. But until then, I was just always avoiding it. So like those maternal wounds, I've talked about the maternal wound of with my mother, fraternal wounds with my pops and my father, those wounds and aspects. I was still trying to catch up to the time that I didn't have with my father. So a lot of the times in my life, I was trying to catch up with that time I didn't have with my father. So I was out here just sunning niggas. Like trying to be a certain way, trying to be a father to everybody else because I didn't deal with those aspects of a father. So whenever time got away from me, I was trying to keep everybody else in that timeline with me. I was trying to make everything fit my timeline. So if it didn't fit my timeline, I automatically had an antagonist in that space. Well, yeah, I would like give myself this dumbass argument every single time. Give myself the dumbass argument like, yeah, you don't understand. I'm trying to run the world. I'm trying to run the world. I was only talking through fear. I was only speaking through fear because I didn't have like when I was triggered and I was asked a true question like, so what is the goal? What is the plan? What is the mindset? I would sit there in that space and I'd be like, well, I told you before back when we all got together and we were all cool that I wanted to do this, and this. And I will always go from the emotional standpoint. I will always go from a state of emotion. I was almost never going from a state of truly saying, yo, this is my plan. And then that fear of me not really sharing my plan inside of that space was based on if I tell people my plan and they don't agree with it, then they don't accept me. If they do not agree with my plan, they do not accept me. So I lost the ability to learn anything. So now when I'm in a space with myself and I need that good old conversation with myself and I know what I'm listening to every time that you think you're listening, now that I was like, okay, cool. Now it's time for me to really listen. If I ask a question and I honor my breath as I ask this question, everything in my space is going to give me the answer that I require. Not the answer that I want, not the answer that I need. It's going to give me the answer that I require in order for me to move forward. It's going to give me the answer that I need in order for me to move forward. Everybody gives you the answer that you need in order for you to move forward. But it's going to be based on the confidence inside of yourself, that work that you know you need to do inside of yourself in order for you to move forward. Everything down here is for you to feed. Everything down here for you to feed off of because everything down here works for you. The more that you master your emotions, the easier it is to start understanding how much everything down here works for you. You got one or two choices. You're going to heal or you're going to repeat. One or two choices, heal or repeat. Which leads me into this week's episode on the God Hour podcast, Broken Records. I remember for myself a lot of times trying to fit things into the space or the group. Since I was stuck within my emotional wounds or my grooves of my record, my Akashic records, my past. I was all the pieces that were broken. That means father wounds, emotional wounds. I was trying to take things from the current space and make them fit inside there. Here's the thing for a lot of us with our emotional wounds. A lot of times, the relationships that you're trying to build is based on the wound of a parent. So every relationship that you're in, since your mother was a certain way, and now you're trying to be the best mother ever, in every relationship that you get in, you may be trying to be the best mother to everybody in that space. You got used to being the mother, but you did it from a broken space. You trying to be that father wound that you didn't have. Now you're trying to be the best father or the father figure or the leader in every one of the groups that you're in. But here's the thing. When we're doing that from a sense of imbalance, we keep everything below us. And when it starts to get up higher, that challenge to us to try to meet us eye to eye, to challenge us to become better, that's when we'll sit there and be like, nah. You got to stay a certain way in order for me to accept you. Because that's what you tell yourself. A lot of times we get stuck in that cycle of change to where when anything outside of our cycle of change changes that we don't have control over or we can't set the tone with, we start to dissipate away from it, push away from it. And when we try to come back into it, we try to bring it down to that emotional level that we're at. You will always get information and everything that you're wanting to receive based on your emotional level. Based on what emotions that you dealt with. So you can get some bomb-ass information, some information that can help you actually grow, but because you have not learned how to master your emotions, it'll seem like it's an attack. And it is. It's an attack on your old self. It's an attack on aspects of you that need to die. It's an attack on your humanity. Allow it to happen. It's going to unlock you. But you got to get those emotions in order first. I want you to be the best. I desire you to be the best. Week's episode, we're going to get into that broken record. Y'all stay tuned for that. The key to you mastering time, we're going to close it out with that. The key to you mastering time is you mastering your emotions. The more that you master your emotions, the deeper that you get into the depths of mastering your emotions, you'll understand how you can master this time. Because time is nothing but a byproduct, or it's the behavior. That's why a lot of people right now, that's why you got a lot of people that are so emotionally distraught with themselves, they still stuck in 1960 when it comes to picketing and protesting. That's where their emotions are stuck at. That's that continue. Their emotions are stuck back there. We don't get her now on Friday. I want you to be the best. I desire you to be the best. You got one or two choices: heal or repeat. I'm a heal. I'm gonna keep healing. I'm gonna keep moving forward. If it's meant to be there, it'll be there. Let it go. I love you. We love us. Ashe.